It's time for Type 40, some Doctor Who content from us at the Spacebook to you, whatever time zone or time stream you're joining us from. Welcome to our TARDIS. Yeah, here we are for a bit of a catch-up. We're around a week away from a crop of brand new episodes of Doctor Who, a mercifully short crop of new Jodie Whittaker starring episodes of Doctor Who. They're going to slink their way down the pan and onto your screens should you feel inclined to watch. And although no one is slower to promote his own output than the outgoing showrunner, Chris Chibnall, it has crept out and the hyperbole has absolutely stepped up. So we have that special guest star that nobody had ever heard of. We have a multi-part story. As always, I think that's a hard sell whether you've got a really successful show currently or not. So there's that coming too. One could argue that the last time that the Doctor Who universe did something like this, that's being attempted with Flux, you've got to be careful how you say that, that they're attempting with Flux, was probably the series that spelt the death of a particularly healthy, I thought, spin-off show in Torchwood back in 2000 and was it 2011? I think that Miracle Day happened. I know it's a long time ago, I know, but the signs aren't great. We've had the time slot confirmed now. It's a little earlier than we told you about on the podcast the other day, but yeah, we've got that coming up too. So all the details, we're going to go over all of that and take stock of a few little things that have caught my eye, maybe yours too, in the time in between. So yeah, first of all, let's get some screen. So yes, the latest edition of the Type 40 podcast itself, that's premiered here on the Spacebook YouTube channel a few days ago. So that's myself, Charlotte Shields, and Barnaby Jago bravely stepping into the trenches and giving you this preview really to series 13, everything that we knew at the time of recording so far, and our instincts about what to expect really, and why we're going to be there. There's one born every minute, I know, but yeah, why we've decided that we're going to be watching week by week and talking about it as best we can, because it's not been a great era. I think anybody who's spent any time on the channel whatsoever will know we're not great fans here at Type 40 or Type 40 Live, but yeah, stick with us. If nothing else, I'm sure that'll be a bit of fun. What else is coming up? Yeah, Type 40 Live. When's that back, Dan? When's Type 40 Live back? We've got all the news about that coming up a little later on this. But before I get too deep into all of that, I just want to say, yeah, thank you, everybody. All the new subscribers we've had lately. Everyone helps. We're inching our way up to that 1K subscribers mark. So thank you to every single one of you. But please, yeah, if you've been here, you've enjoyed our content, and if you're listening to this one now, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, maybe give us a share too. Share to the Doctor Who fan in your life. Even maybe they're as frustrated with this era as we are. Maybe they're in two minds where they're not quite sure, because there are some very nice pictures that have been released this week. Or maybe they're bona fide all in on the rainbow era of Doctor Who under Chris Chibnall. Probably think we're talking a load of old heresy, but the more the merrier. We do it with a smile on our faces most of the time while we buy it our way. Yeah, this is kind of how we look at it. We're here waiting for whatever's going to come next after next. Okay, where shall we start? Well, yeah, firstly, actually, this has just been sent to me today. So I've done a little digging. So this is the front cover to the new Radio Times. When I say new, it's out in the shops this coming Tuesday, I believe. Now, this was sent along to me and posted in the Type 40 Facebook group. I believed that it was a fan-made cover, simply because it looks really amateurish, doesn't it? I mean, I'm looking at this, and I have to say, throughout, in particular, the Capaldi era, but in the Matt Smith era too, we had the beautiful work of the designer and artist Stuart Manning. He's an art director too, wasn't he? And he would create some incredible covers to launch every new season of Doctor Who. Images that you hadn't seen anywhere else, given this sort of bespoke, almost a fine art treatment in some respects. Now, I know that Stuart's moved on, people do, but this is the work of Elizabeth Hoff. So she's designed this cover. And I haven't bought the Radio Times for a few years now. I gave up my TV license. I don't watch any broadcast TV anymore. So there's no reason for me to have a TV guide. And to be honest, I'd given up on the Radio Times before then anyway, because the cover price is absolutely extortionate for a TV guide. But yeah, I did believe for a time that it was holding on to this sort of prestige status. Now, I'm sorry, Elizabeth, if you are watching or listening. This cover looks like it was put together in half an hour, maybe, with a standard promo picture. If it's not one that we've seen before, we've certainly seen dozens from this self-same shoot, and what looks like the most basic collage job going to back it up. The font's sort of okay, maybe, and the colours are all very Halloween-y or whatever. But yeah, this is further evidence, really, how far I believe that this brand has fallen in the eyes of the public, and maybe with Radio Times themselves. They've long been one of Doctor Who's biggest supporters, along with places like Blue Peter. So to see this here, I'm not impressed at all. I thought it was a fan-made cover. Turns out it's legitimate. This will be in the shops from midweek anyway. Should you feel so inclined, should you be a completist, like I used to be, not more reasons not to be impressed. What else is there? Yeah, so since we last spoke, we've had that confirmed that the episode, we've got the first episode title for series 13 of Doctor Who. The series itself is going out under the name Flux, isn't it? Yeah, so we've got that too. So it's confirmed to start on Sunday, the 31st of October at 6:25 p.m. We did hear talk that it was going to be around 8:30. It isn't. It's much, much earlier, which is obviously better for the children who aren't out trick-or-treating. But, we'll see how it gets on. Apparently, it's sandwiched between Countryfile and Strictly Come Dancing. Those are two big shows for the BBC. So, maybe it'll do okay. It is half-term holiday, so it turns out that in most of the country, the kids aren't at school the following day, which does count for something if they can stay up that little bit later, particularly if they're watching it on catch-up or whatever. We'll see how that goes. So that's coming up. But yeah, they kept us guessing, really, for the people who do care, as to what this episode was going to be called, didn't they? And, it's been heralded with this very, very bright poster, as well as the subtitle Flux, which may interest you, may not. To be fair, I'm 50-50 about this. There are lots of shows out there at the moment that are going with this sort of byline idea. Whatever. It seems to me that I used to believe that Doctor Who was above so much of this, because, you could argue that all this is just another gimmick, because it's just another episode of Doctor Who, despite everything that Chris Chibnall may say. That is how I feel it's going to be received, particularly at a time where there's not a great public appetite for it. It's just a fact of reality. So we've got this, but we do have an episode title that's been confirmed. And so what's this? So the episode title for the first one is The Halloween Apocalypse. Chapter 1, The Halloween Apocalypse. I don't know if that's going to stay. That's something we're actually going to see on screen, but there it is. And the synopsis goes like this. On Halloween, across the universe, terrifying forces are stirring. From the Arctic Circle to deep space, an ancient evil is breaking free. And in present-day Liverpool, the life of Dan Lewis is about to change forever. Why is the Doctor on the trail of the fearsome Carvanista? Isn't that one of those desserts? You put them in the fridge and you bring them out at family parties, And what is the Flux? standard. Yeah, I think I likened the trailer to the Star Trek Discovery trailer a few days ago on the show. And again, I'm feeling largely the same about this. It's an ancient evil. It's the worst thing ever. And this ordinary person, could they be the one? And all that kind of thing. And, it's not, I don't suppose it's really, for me, it's not going to change my mind one way or the other about whether I'm going to watch it. I suppose you could say it's the blurb, isn't it, that goes in the Radio Times. So the normies decide whether they're going to watch it or not. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I have to say, the first thing that I felt when I saw this title was, it's very, very Chibnall. It's Chibnall business as usual. We've got a title here which it just feels so awkward when you try and speak it. I know that they say that you should never judge a book by its cover, and there's a lot of truth in that. So maybe by the same measure, we should not judge a Doctor Who episode on the strength of its title. But it's not that it's a bad title for the story. I haven't seen it yet. It may sum things up beautifully, but my issue is Chris Chibnall's titles, they're almost as difficult to pronounce as they are to sit through in actual reality. It's not catchy. It doesn't evoke anything in particular, and it sounds to me like an attempt, yet again, as with a lot of things in the Chris Chibnall era, from actual retreads of plot lines to the closest they could get to recreate sets as they possibly could, and to bring back an incarnation of the Master, which is very John Sim-like. No offense, Sasha, I like what you do. Yeah, fair enough. But this, it has to be yet another attempt to chime back to the Russell T Davies era. So I'm thinking it's the Christmas Invasion, people like that. Let's do that again, or the nearest we possibly can. What you think, David? Yeah, I think David kind of agrees too. So yeah, can't help but be, yeah, whatever about it all. They wore me down a long time. I'm not invested with this era anymore. I'm trying to be neutral about it, but I find it very difficult, everybody. And maybe it is churlish to round on this, but this is hardly the first time with the episode titles, is it? Let's be honest. I mean, looking back through, let's have a quick look back through the many series upon series of Doctor Who episodes that Chibnall's put out in the last 4 years. Yeah, they're just 20 odd episodes. So yeah, I'm looking back at things like the Sunagra. See, you cannot say these names. You can't get them out. The Sunagra Conundrum. That was one, wasn't it? And what else? Demons of the Punjab. That's not too bad. But the Battle of Rankskor Avkolos, Nikolai Tesla's Night of Terror, The Haunting of Villa Diodati, Ascension of the Cybermen. You see them on a screen, or you see them written down, and you think, oh yeah, what's the harm? What's the harm in that? But you try speaking them, you try talking about them. It's bad enough. This Doctor Who is not talked about. It has no sense of prestige about it anymore. People only talk about how woke it is, how PC it is, or the fact the people who feel differently, they speculate about how much further it can go down that road. Nothing, very little, is about what's actually on screen. And I feel that by giving them these kind of episode titles that people can't even speak, they're not enigmatic, they're not esoteric in any way. They're inscrutable, bland, and I think that's what's making my ears prick up. They seem inadequate and draft one titles that are unnatural to speak out loud, and as time goes on, largely because the contents of the episodes tend to be so forgettable, then they get forgotten too. So yeah, it's that'll do-itis, I think is how I describe it. Where are the empty childs, the tooth and claws, the school reunions, the turn lefts, the lodgers, or even just the crimson horrors? How evocative does all of that sound? Okay, we've We have already seen those episodes, but they just sound better. They sound like they've been considered. I mean, even Orphan 55 is synaptically bad. Even that number, that combination of that word with that number, say, looks perfectly adequate on the front page of a script. You try speaking about it. Anyway, I could be splitting hairs there. And, if it's inconsequential to you what the episodes are called, that's fine. It's a minor thing. This isn't going to keep me awake at night. But as far as I'm concerned, this is indicative, again, of more complacency surrounding this production. Doctor Who Series 13 begins on Sunday, the 31st of October, as I said, confirmed for a 6:25 start time. It's going to run here for 50 minutes, I believe. It's not a special extended opener. I think they probably are all going to be 50 minutes because obviously there's the Christmas special. There's a blast from the past. The New Year special coming up this year too. That'll almost certainly be the full hour. And reviews will be coming up here on Type 40, along with more fun and games and banter running along on Type 40 Live. What else? Let's see what else I've managed to put aside for this one. Yeah, so we've had some publicity pictures too, which in typical, look at this. Who is Dan Lewis, everybody? Who is this guy who can make such a difference on the brand new series of Doctor? Who's this character that we are hoping you are going to take to? Well, this is the latest publicity picture that they've put out. Yeah, he looks like he's come around to give you a quote on some new Windows, doesn't he? There's no character there at all. You either like John Bishop or you don't. He seems like a nice guy to me. But as I think I've said this before, they're mainlining his popularity. Not really. Is there going to be a character there? I doubt it, particularly after that trailer. We have an image of Yaz too. Well, yes, with more inanimate objects. So she should feel right at home. When you see these characters that we've known for 3 years, why don't I feel like I'm re-meeting old friends? Why don't I care about what happens to this character? Again, I put the blame on the writing and on the casting. I'm sure between them they could have built. It turns out, I think that Manlip Gill and Yasmin Khan, they're going to be like the longest serving companions in the new series history by the time all this is done. I find that so difficult to believe, but it is true. She's been on the show now for 3 years and a few weeks at the time of recording this. And what do we know about her? Next to nothing. If you are a Yaz fan, if you can relate to this character, again, get in touch. Let us know. Let us know what we're missing. We've got a fantastic image of that new Sontaran. But I find this, the novelty of this is starting to wear off with me. I do love this redesign. And as a designer, as somebody who always loved the Sontarans, when I was a kid and stuff, they're villains that have always, whereas we've seen so much of the Cybermen and the Daleks, and we know a lot about their history and their culture, there's still a lot of mystery around the Sontarans. And so I like the idea that we could potentially see more of that. I just don't trust Chris Chibnall is the man to bring us anything that ultimately is going to be of any real worth, really, or that can satisfy that fan side to me. Fair play, they are new costumes, and I do think they've done a nice job. But we shall see. They did a beautiful job on the Cybermen, whenever that was. That was at the end of the end of the last series. So rather wore me down. We'll see where this goes and how many episodes of Sontarans are actually in. I see that they are storming a battlefield in one scene of the trailer, and I did wonder, was this going to be some sort of war with the Rutans? We were finally going to see that, but from what I hear, it could be two rival breeds of Sontarans, and I have my suspicions about what the differences may be between those two forces, if that's true. We'll have to see, won't we? We'll have to see. more. We'll be reviewing that on the show as well. What else is coming up? Yeah, so whatever this is the what was it? It was the Cravanista, something like that. So this is a new character that's been teased again in that blur. The Carvanista. There we are, facing up against Jodie Whittaker's Doctor. I know which frightens me more. Again, cheesy production values are not an excuse. This several people I've been a little vocal about this on social media, and several people have told me to get my head from out my arse. But I do not believe that the general public see production values like this and are amused that this is the standard at which the series has sort of fallen. Okay, it's not quite the Dog Woman in Orphan 55. That's got to be an all-time low. But this is not far off. The Chewbacca's little brother, the character may end up being the best thing that I've ever seen. It may be the next Baby Yoda, Baby Chewie. I hear you cry. But right now, all I can really think of is, it's the war bungle. It's happened. And here we are with another picture there of the 13th Doctor and Carvanista. They're heading into Series 13. Yeah, I think that wraps it up this time. So, you could say that I'm undecided, but we are going to be here with reviews of every episode of Series 13 going forward, just for you. And you may be amused by the things that we've got to say by listening to us suffer. You may find it therapy. You may enjoy these episodes after all. If you do feel differently, then please do come along and tell us if you think we've got it all right, or no, that's right. God, I can't speak this afternoon. If you think we've got it all right or wrong, we're all ears. Let us know in the comment sections. Get in touch. And of course, there's a Type 40 Facebook group too. That's full of companions from all over the Whoniverse and all ages, talking about the past, the present, and the future of Doctor Who. How could we forget that? What may be coming for the anniversary and forwards, and looking forward to the centenary special. I think that whether we intend on watching the entire thing or just the last 5 minutes, there can't be many of us that aren't looking forward to that. Here's something else to look forward to, everybody. The return of Type 40 Live. Yeah, I promised that you'd get some news about that. So where are we? Let's get this up on screen. So Type 40 Live back for a 4th season of live stream conversations that can get a bit leery, I know, but it's all it's all discussion, isn't it? And previews, reviews, talk about merchandise, talk about the fandom, and generally having a bit of a laugh amongst ourselves on the panel and with the people out there watching in the live chat on Facebook and YouTube. We love doing those shows. They're so much fun to make, and we have lots of treats coming up over the next 8 weeks as we crank it up for Christmas too. So we did move the time slot in the autumn. Quickly, let's remind ourselves, including me, because I'm terrible with these time zones. Okay, so yes, this season of Type 40, it starts next week on the 28th of October, 2021 at 8 p.m. on the Thursday. So everybody in the UK, be there from 8, get a drink on the go and relax with us and come and vent with us, or count down to Series 13 with us. I know there are people out there who are kind of a bit won over by that trailer. I'm all ears. Can't wait to see what the audience has got to say. So that's the UK time. But over in the States, you have the 3 time zones, of course. So Central Standard Time at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, Eastern Standard Times at 3 p.m., and Pacific Standard Time is earlier for you guys at 12 p.m. Whereas in Australia and New Zealand, it's a completely different kettle of fish. They've time traveled into the very next day. It's 5 a.m. for you guys in Australia on a Friday morning. So get up if you're going to go for a run, or if you've got an early start, put us on at the same time, or we can keep you company whilst you're out running around, whatever you're doing. Looking forward to that. And more podcasts coming up soon. We've got an exclusive podcast that's going to drop. I'm not entirely sure when that's coming, but it's very, very soon. We're just waiting for approval on that from our very special guest. But you can stream or download every episode of Type 40, a Doctor Who podcast over at our dedicated home feed, type40.podbean.com, or you can find us on Spotify, TuneIn, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, all those other places. Wherever you get your podcasts, you can find us there. We always have the time, if you have the space here at Type 40. So yeah, we look forward to catching up with you again, 8 p.m. for Type 40 Live next Thursday. And keep an eye on the channel. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Thanks very much, everybody. We'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.